Chicago Bears and Money Mitch. Is Money Mitch back? Although at the end of the game, he did throw the always knowing turnover when you least need it to give all those haters the fuel for the fire. You get everything you want in a game as a truther, someone that's been a Mitchell Trubisky supporter for a long time. He's balling out, doing everything he can. And then all of a sudden it starts to feel exactly like the Lions game where you're like thinking there's no way they can lose this game. And then sure enough, they're in a ball game at the end. And then Mitch, who played pretty much flawlessly throughout the day, makes that one big mistake in the red zone. And now all of a sudden you're worried they're going to blow it there. But this time, unlike the Lions game, the dramatics do not fall the opposing team's way. And now the Chicago Bears are officially in a playoff hunt. Before, I could not say that. I really couldn't. I had to see them get through this game. But we all know what's ahead of them now. So we are now on the full Chubbs-o-meter here at Brags in the Stands because our guy Chubbs, a loyal listener and viewer of our show, has been saying this team, they ain't done yet. And when Nick Foles was in, Jake, I just thought, time to lose out, time to clean house, totally step for step with you on that, and can understand why any Bears fan was there at that point. But now that Mitch is in, and the offense is clicking in the way that they are, yes, the defense has taken a step back, and you hate to see that, but it's hard for me not to now get a little excited to see if they can pull this off. They're putting up 30 burgers each week, Jake, and my guy is playing calm, cool. Yes, he made a mistake. We got to clean that up, but they did it in a win. There's no better learning from your mistakes than in a win. So, for me, now you have the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up, and every game's a must win. They're in full playoff mode now, but that's a game I really think they're going to be able to get through because Jacksonville is trying to lose.
I think James Robinson got hurt today too, if I'm not mistaken.
That's only going to add to that kind of a thought process there. And then the Green Bay Packers lay waiting in the final week of the season, and we don't know whether or not they're going to play their starters or not. So I'm really excited. I put on the caption, the Bears are back. So Jake put the header for our show that keeps playoff hopes alive. I'm all in now as I knock over my computer. I'm all in now. So I'm fully ready to be smacked by our good friend and, gambling aficionado here at Brags in the Stands, Johnny B. I'm going to let him smack me. I'm going to let Eric crack me across the face because you know what? I'm ready. This team got through the test of beating the Vikings, and now they have it right in front of them. Yes, they need a little help, but I believe that help will come. So what do you think here, Jake? Because it's a lot to unpack, and Mitch made it interesting at the end, but at the end of the day, we've now seen consecutive weeks where Mitch is really starting to
feel
put
good
it
about
together.
all that. So without
Here's Nagy.
Yeah, let's listen to Nagy. And
First up, Pat Finley.
Matt, how much did Cairo's efficiency contribute to your game plan there in the fourth quarter? Twice you run the ball to set up that field goal, and just how different is it coaching with that sort of confidence in your guy?
Yeah, it's big because you look at where you're at in that position, and Harrison Smith made a great play. He shot the gap, and it was a tough block for Cole. If Cole gets that block, we're running around the edge. We had that play schemed up and ready for that situation, so we all felt good about that. But Harrison's a Pro Bowl player, and he's a vet. He's a savvy vet, and he made a good play. I thought Mitch did a good job of not losing 4 or 5 yards and just getting up in there, north and south. And so, we're in a position right now when that happens that you feel very confident with your kicker, and he's proven us that he's going to make those. And so as far as where you're at in certain situations, it definitely helps out with some of the play calling, but not all of it.
Adam Hogue.
And Matt, what did you specifically like about how Mitch ran the offense today? I think at one point you had 6 straight drives where you got points, and you didn't actually it was 7 to 8 all the way the rest of the game except for the interception. But then on the interception, what was supposed to happen there? Because it was a little weird seeing Holtz out, not weird, but different seeing Holtz outside, and then it was a little confusing about where the pass was actually going.
Yeah, so it was great to see the way that he ran the offense all day today in decision-making with these nakeds getting onto the edge. And it's a stress to the defense with the moving parts. And I think he's doing a really good job at just commanding it and making good decisions. He made some nice throws over the middle. The wide receivers and tight ends made some great catches, run after the catch. So all of that right now is a little bit of our identity that we're clicking with. And so we'll continue to keep that going, mixing in some different things and keeping defenses on their heels. So you see when he has to throw the ball 21 times and we're able to run the ball with one running back for 32 attempts, it makes offense a lot easier and it's effective. In regards to that final play there, that interception, we emptied them out, and now JP was in there replacing Demetrius Harris, who's usually in there at that time. So we'll have to ask. We'll go back and watch the tape, but we have some advantage throws that we liked, and I'm not sure if the ball kind of got away from him a little bit, if he was going to A-Rob and the ball just kind of floated. I thought the corner made a good job. He fell off, and obviously I know that bothered Mitch on that play, but we were able to get that stop the next series and go down and get points.
Colleen Kane.
Hey, Matt, how would you describe how David Montgomery played today, and what specifically did you like about his 14-yard touchdown run?
That 14-yard touchdown run was awesome because he runs so hard. He's really, really hard to bring down with one guy. He runs with just extreme passion. The guys love that. We're feeding off of him. You guys need to see the way that he practices every day. And he just finishes every run down to the goal line and comes on back for the next play. And he cares so much. And the big O-line are blocking their tails off for him. And it's just we're in sync there. The tight ends getting in there and blocking. The wide receivers sticking their nose in there and blocking. It's an unselfish offense right now, which I like. And, it starts in a game like today with the big O-line and then with David following behind him. It was pretty neat.
Jeff Dickerson.
Finally got 20-plus carries.
And Matt, to that point on Montgomery, if you guys are going to close this out, finish out on a run here, how important is it going to be for him to keep playing at the level he's playing at? It seems like you said you guys are feeding off him. It seems like when he's running like this, it just opens up endless possibilities for you guys on offense.
It is. You have to be able to, you get down in games like this, you have to be able to run the football. You have to be able to keep them off balance with play actions. When you're in the drop back game, whether it's on third down or first or second, you got to be efficient with pass pro. And so I don't know what our average was on first or second down running the ball, but it felt pretty good. And when you're able to get chunks on first or second, against this defense on third down, these guys are unbelievable on third down. And one of the things that we said all week long was if we win third down, we will have a great chance at winning this game. And I have to look here at the numbers, but it looks like we were 6 for 12 on third down against this defense. And I'll take that every day of the week. And so it starts with the run game, and our guys did a great job there. And along with Coach Juan, him and Donnie, with some of the scheme stuff that we're doing, they did a really good job.
Jason Leisure.
Matt, it looked like you were contributing some defensive coaching there on that Hail Mary. I saw you conferring with Chuck and yelling something onto the field. What was your input? What was on your mind on that final play?
Well, it's important in those times to let these defensive coaches know what you're thinking from an offensive perspective. So for me to be able to tell them, hey, listen, they have this much time left. Here's what they could do. Here's what they're going to be looking to do. And then I don't tell him what to do, but I just tell him from the offensive perspective what he's thinking or what they should be thinking. And then they go ahead and make the calls. And so I thought that he made the right call, and then our guys have to execute it. We practice that every week. We practice that situation, several of them. So it was good to see it finally come to fruition.
You were yelling it to a player too, I think it looked like.
To do what?
You looked like you were yelling to a player on the field. Something.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking through some technique of how we want that guy to play, to make sure that we protect the sideline to keep him in bounds.
Kevin Fishbane.
Matt, we talked so much about Mitch in this kind of new-ish scheme and the boots and everything. How does it help David, though? How has David benefited from this style of offense?
Well, it's big because, you have the threat of Mitch getting out onto the edge and then the play actions. You got to keep him, off balance with that. So it's all working in sync right now. All three parts of that are good. And then when we get down in the red zone, you lose a little bit of that field. They have an extra defender with the back end line. So We want to be efficient there, and probably would have liked to maybe have a couple more touchdowns when we got that good field position. We didn't, and Cairo pulled us out of it with some good field goals. But it's just right now when you watch it, I mean, it's working together, and it's a good thing.
Brad Biggs.
Hey, Matt, I'd like to know when in the week you made the decision to take the ball if you won the coin toss, kind of why and what went into that. And can you recall the last time you said, I'll take the ball?
I can't, Brad. So it was probably the middle of the week. And you just kind of think through different situations, and we talk about it. And I just know that right now, it just seemed like the right thing to do. Now I look back at it, and we went 3 and out. So maybe it wasn't the right decision, but it was just something for us to change it up a little bit. And this is what we ended up doing.
Last one for Coach JJ.
JJ.
Matt, we've talked to you over the years about you wanting Mitch's eyes to be where your eyes are. Over the last couple of games, has that been something you've seen out of him, that his eyes are going where your eyes are going on these plays?
Yeah, he's doing a good job with that. He's in a place right now throughout the weeks where he's just really, as we've talked about, we're all collaborating, talking through schematics of what, the plays and what we like, what he feels good with. And not that we haven't been doing that before, but you can obviously see that some of the stuff is a little different. And so it's fitting us, and it's working. And so what we got to do now is just make sure that we don't get stale with it, and that we always try to stay one step ahead of these defenses, because you start having tendencies in what you do. And so we want to help him out. We want to help our offense out. And I want to credit our coaching staff on offense for really, working through all this, staying together, and all of us just having a lot of input. It's that part's been good.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Take care.
There he
There you have
is,
it.
Matt Nagy. As my computer continues to slide, we are still efforting my new computer from Best Buy. One of these days they'll get it out to me, but I know they're really busy. The holiday season and everything else, everybody doing all shipping nowadays. So, but yeah, Matt Nagy sounds like he's more comfortable in what's going on. I find it ironic, a lot of conversation, Jake, during the
Next up,
game
media, we have Darnell Mooney.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Was about whether or not Mitch is going to be here next year. Now all of a sudden he looks good. Everybody would obviously rather have him than Foles, right? But I don't think a lot of fans understand that Nick Foles has a player option. To me, there's no question Nick Foles is coming back, and it's just as hard for me to imagine Mitchell Trubisky coming back, even, as improved as his play has been. But I find it ironic, Jake, that Mitchell Trubisky could very well not be here, but save Matt Nagy's job. When Matt Nagy was the one that benched Mitchell Trubisky because he said, I want touchdowns, not field goals. And you saw me laugh during that post-game presser because he was like, well, I wish we would have got a few more touchdowns. How many touchdowns did they score today, Jake? Now he wants even more touchdowns from Mitch in a game where they put up
3
30
touchdowns,
points.
yeah.
So his expectation level for Mitch is like way up here. 1 incompletion, you're gone. 30 points, I need more touchdowns. But now that the offense has now been, redone to fit what Mitchell Trubisky does best, he's being asked, oh, do you like that Mitch is seeing what you're seeing? What is Matt Nagy learning on the sidelines is my question. Everybody's talking about what Mitchell Trubisky learned on the sidelines while Nick Foles was the starting quarterback. But what's Matt Nagy learning now that he's not calling plays? Because to me, it's Bill Lazor and Mitchell Trubisky getting this offense underway. And Matt Nagy doesn't have as much to do with that, in my opinion. And, I hate saying that because I like Matt, but I'm seeing a guy that's about to get his job saved by a guy that's going to, be going out the door. There's no way we're going to keep Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, what are your thoughts just on the entire day since we haven't had a chance to hear from you yet, Jake?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily just a foregone conclusion that Mitch isn't going to be here. I don't know what.
I'm surprised you say that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to have offered to him on the free market. I don't know if maybe the Bears try to get him a little deal going, before the year's out, just a little something to give him an extra year or something. But they could also franchise tag him if it really comes down to it. Now that's a really big price tag on Mitch to do something like that. But if they really feel confident about him, they can go ahead and do that. Now, whether that means Allen Robinson is here or not, that's another story. But there's things that they can do. I'm sure that there's going to be teams that would be interested in him to come in and maybe compete for a starting spot. But I have to imagine
certainly the way he's playing now, you see a guy that's rolling out of the pocket, and like they were pointing out, look how much it's helped David Montgomery's game. Yeah, I could see him being on the 49ers and playing real well in that kind of a system. And obviously any quarterback could say that because the Niners run a good system, but it's the truth. Mitch is going to go somewhere if he's not here. And I know there's some Bears fans that are a little nervous now after what we've seen these last few weeks as to what he's going to do when he's gone, because it's going to hurt just as bad if he's playing well on another team as it hurts watching Mahomes and Watson light up the league every week.
Well, if you're going to have Nagy here, if you're going to have Pace here, then they need to figure it out and make sure he's here too, because it's going to be tough to just be kind of rolling the dice with Foles and seeing what you can get in free agency or in the draft, because right now they're kind of playing themselves out of in being in position for a top tier quarterback, unless they want to give up assets, which I doubt they'd like to do all over again. But I have to imagine if Pace and Nagy are going to be here, that they're going to have to work it out and make sure he's here as well. So I guess we'll see.
Well, it'll be interesting. And, Mott's in the chat says facts. And I know one guy that brings the facts. And sometimes I hate giving him credit because he's, always right. And he's always in our chat, with the great predictions. And I wanted to bring him on today, Jake, and give him the day because he has been on the money.
Hey,
he's always trying to tell me, Braggs, listen to me. And now we get to put a face with the tweets.
That's right.
A face with the, with all the comments that we so dearly appreciate in our comment section. So welcome to the show, Chubbs. Your signal's a little off, but we're so happy.
Hey, appreciate it.
For your first ever Braggs in the Stands debut. What are your thoughts here, now that Mitchell Trubisky's proving you to be right?
Well, he's proven me right yet. But I think let's give up on Mitch again that everybody jumps on. I love that shit because, it helps them. But, I think he's proved, obviously, that he's capable and that the problem is Nagy. Nagy brought in his guy. His guy failed. Mitch came in, said, I want to do what I want to do, doing it, and we see 30 points in 4 games in a row. So, I think it's a set. They're doing what Mitch is good at, and it's being successful. And Montgomery's getting the ball.
100%. And Jake, I appreciate you controlling the camera because I'm on my iPad. I can't switch it like we do. So, Chubbs, are you getting signal breakup from Chubbs too on your end, Jake?
Yeah, it's happening here or there.
It's a little shaky. Chubbs.
I'm not.
That's okay.
Are you guys seeing it?
It's a little choppy.
Unfortunately.
If you can find a better spot, we might be able to, see and hear you loud and clear a little better. But we appreciate you hopping on here, Braggs in the Stands, and we got no problem winging it here for a minute because I wanted you to have your day in the sun. You give all the big upset picks here on Braggs in the Stands, as Chubbs always does. We got to start giving him an upset pick special on Friday nights when we do our picks because, he
got me.
There he goes.
There you go.
There he is.
Now I got you.
So I wanted to give you a day in the sun here today because I picked them to lose. You picked them to win. Jake picked them to lose as well. So,
I don't know how you can pick against your own team, Greg.
I'm working on turning back.
It's disgraceful. You know what it is? You're letting the media, Greg, dictate your thought process right out of fandom. That's just a fact.
It's the fans too. It's the guys in my mentions that.
Well, fuck them. They're listening to the media. Come on, you gotta ride with your team till they die. They're not out of it, so Fuck it.
Well,
Let's go.
that's the thing, because when they let Mitch go to the bench and Foles in, I wanted to embrace what Nagy was doing. My gut was kind of wanting to stick with Mitch.
He almost cost us the season with that stupid move.
I know, and I'm a Bears fan first, so it's hard because at first he was winning these miraculous games against the Bucs and the Falcons, and I just want to buy into my team as a fan. That's all it is in my core.
And it's hard to buy in 130 yards of total offense.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what Foles is giving you.
7 hours to Tennessee, and I see the most abysmal offense I've seen since the Jonathan Quinn days. And it's hard not to go full meatball, and that's why I give you credit, Chubbs. You got to
stay with your team.
No shame in your game. You went full meatball right when you saw it was happening, and I had it in front of my eyes. And here we are. We're in a playoff race.
You know what it is?
Go ahead.
It's Matt Nagy being told by the media, actually, for once, are you worried about your job? And then Nagy's sitting back there thinking, man, I might get fired. So I got to start calling these fucking plays that help Mitch, or I'm going to be gone. And I think that's just facts. I mean, it's all ego. You got a guy who's got play sheets in a whole room like a fucking narcissist bastard sitting in there like I'm the only reason we won. I'm just saying.
No, you're right. It's 100% clear now. It's ironic, who would have ever thought that the benching of Mitch would expose so much about him, but it has. And now that he's back, that's what I'm saying, Chubbs. Now all of a sudden, the dude that Nagy threw under the bus and said he was the problem. I want touchdowns, not field goals. I'm not an idiot. I didn't come here to run the I formation. And
we ran it a lot today.
Now, as Jake pointed out, with our interview on Friday with I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank now. Chris Emma from 6-7 Score. He got lucky because Nick Foles got banged up, or else we might not have even seen Mitch come back in. And now all of a sudden, Mitch is going to save Matt Nagy's job, but Mitch won't return to this team. How do you feel about my feelings that it's still a very long shot for Mitch to be back under center for the Bears starting next year in 2021? I can't see it because Nick Foles has to be here. So how do you have both Nick and Mitch and a rookie? That's
well, first off, Nick Foles ain't going to get paid that much money. I mean, what, $8-9 million or something? That's not a lot. You know what I mean? That's not a lot. I mean, sure, it's a high end of a backup, but it's not unreasonable that they can have Mitch and him back. And I'm not sure if they could do this, but I'm pretty sure if they really don't like Mitch, but they sort of have a half feeling about keeping him, why don't they transition tag him? See what the market wants. See what somebody else is going to offer Mitch. If you think if somebody offers him $30 million, we're not going to give him $30 million. But you could transition tag him. If somebody says, hey, well, we'll give him $15 million, he's worth $15 million. Sure. You know what I mean? This 30 points. I mean, if you look at, it's not all about the stats.
They did that with Kyle Fuller too, correct? They transition tagged him, and the Packers tried to make an offer, and that's when we came in and matched it, correct?
Yeah, they transition tagged Fuller, and the Packers kind of screwed us on that deal, but they're not going to offer Mitch $30 million. Otherwise, let him go to the Packers. Sit behind Aaron Rodgers, and they have to get rid of their good players when they need signed, like a, Devontae Adams or whoever. You know what I mean? Sure. But that's not going to fucking happen. So, I mean, in my mind, transition tag him. Nobody's going to offer him more than $20 million, I don't think. And I think he's proved that if he's in the right system, he's worth, whatever, 3-year deal. You can give him a 3-year deal, $60 million, whatever. You know what I mean? Restructure Kyle Fuller, cut Leno, cut Massey. Get some players in the draft that help your offensive line a little bit, and maybe a safety or something, or a corner, I don't know. But fucking,
you're right.
Definitely,
you're right. Going into my next question, I wanted for you is, I know you're a meat and potatoes guy, Chubbs. So how about this offensive line? Look at what the transformation. Everyone's going to dial into Mitch and David Montgomery because of the stats David put up today. But this offensive line, Charles Leno included, are moving these guys. And
I think.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
No, just to me, these guys are just like Mitch, are less exposed because they're going forward and putting their hand in the dirt, like Charles Leno pointed out to us on our show. To drop back 50 times is hard because you're guessing what they're coming with each time, and the more times you drop back, the more times you got to guess. When you're running forward, you don't have to guess. You just hit guys in the mouth. Hat on a hat. That's what we saw today. Where are your thoughts with this offensive line? Do you think they've got the middle of that offensive line fixed? And if they do, where are you putting James Daniels next year?
Well, I would move Whitehair back to right guard's his natural position, right? I would. Well, left guard's where
left guard, right?
Well, left guard's where
Daniels was
playing at. So I mean, like, I would keep Mustafa at center. Leno, of course, the offensive line looks better because you're moving the pocket, you're running the ball, you're play action, you're moving Mitch around, you're helping guys like Charles Leno who have been struggling with a statue back there called fucking Nick Foles. I mean,
Leno's been playing good
football. Of course, Leno wants to run the ball. I mean, he's not very good of a pass blocker. Yeah, he played great. He played good today. I mean, you can't take it away from him. I mean, he played better. He got in front of his guy. Let's say that. You know what I mean? He got in front of his guy. There wasn't a bunch of sacks given up. But a lot of that is Mitch, getting out of the pocket and play calling and 35 carries or whatever Montgomery had. I mean, that helps all that helps the offensive line. You know what I mean? And of course, Mustafa's bringing new energy. I mean, you got guys calling him out saying he's the leader. I mean, he's a rookie and he's a leader. You know what I mean? So
get me more of them Notre Dame guys on the offensive line.
Well, have you seen I mean, I know Notre Dame got blown out, Greg, but I mean,
they're not helping my hopes. I'm glad they're in the college football playoff,
but they fire off.
They do.
They fire off the offensive line when they block. You can see it on tape. To me, but like Leno is gone. Like if I was going to cut somebody, it wouldn't be Mitch. I'd be like, well, Mitch is producing. Leno, you're giving up a sack a game, a bunch of penalties. This is 3 consecutive years. I know you love Leno because he was on your show, but let's be real. I mean, he's not the answer going forward, and you can cut him and save all that money. You can restructure Fuller to keep him because he's a key. You got to keep him. And you can sign a good quality guy, and you can give Mitch another couple years. You could draft a quarterback in the draft. I mean, to me, it's Leno and Massey are the ones that got to go. And maybe Robinson, although
or at least get guys coming in that'll be in the wings. You draft one. I mean, obviously, if you draft one in the first round,
well, I think Massey's gone for sure, but Leno may stay because everybody loves him so much in Chicago. So,
and if you
he may end up staying.
Line in the first round, you would hope that that's a left tackle. You don't typically draft an offensive lineman that plays. I guess
we got to see who's available. I mean, if they make the playoffs, they're going to get they're not going to get the best pick. They're going to get what 20th or 20? Is it 20th?
Depending on how far they go, yeah.
So you're falling right into that level at least last year where the top offensive tackles were being taken, right?
Well, I mean, there were still good guys being taken that have played well this year, later rounds. I mean, when did the Buccaneers got a guy, right, that's playing well this year?
The one that he didn't get back through into the next galaxy.
Well, he's still playing well this year. All them,
Everybody
what I mean? There's some other guys.
Everybody gets beat. Yeah, absolutely. He has.
I mean, but I think Mitch, if they let Mitch walk and he goes to New England and he makes the playoffs every fucking year and they win a Super Bowl, then to me, Ryan Pace is the biggest idiot GM of all fucking time. And Nagy should never get another head coaching job in his fucking life. He shouldn't even be allowed to be a coordinator after that, as far as I'm concerned. Because,
you're 100% right.
I mean, when he goes to Bill Belichick's motto is utilize strengths and attack weaknesses. He's going to utilize strength of Mitch, and he's not going to care about stats or any of that dumb shit that the media cares. Well, Mitch didn't throw for 300 yards. We scored 33 points, right? 33 today, right? 33 fucking points. That's 120 points, 20-some points in 4 straight games that Mitch has been in. This team should be like 10-3 right now, or 10-5 whatever, 10 and
It could
4.
be I get, and that's kind of the detriment of Nagy, because it took him so long to really check himself. And
Right.
once
It's
he
the
did,
ego.
yeah, it's
And
his ego.
would Nagy have ever learned to truly commit to the style of play they're playing now had he not taken out Mitch? Because I feel like he would have always in the back of his head been like, we
Well,
can
he
do
needed
better.
to bench himself first, and that
But
was
you
I
see
think,
on the
key.
press conferences, he's not even willing to give Mitch credit now. Laser comes to the fucking podium. They ask him a question. The first thing out his mouth is, well, it's Nagy's offense. Like, it tells me that he's in the room basically, it's my way or the highway, and fucking, if anything goes right, make sure I'm the one getting credit. Like, that's how, I mean, they're feeding his ego. It's like the coaches realize, hey, if we don't, we might get fired, because he fired the whole staff last year.
Well, I certainly think that Nagy's learning these last couple weeks for sure. Maybe if he didn't learn it in those first couple weeks, in the Packers and Lions games, he's learning it now that he was a big problem in that. So I do wonder for him too how much that's going to change him going forward. Let's say Mitch isn't here next year. Will he stick to this mentality that he's learned through other coaches showing him how it's done? Or is he going to go back and revert to what he's been trying
Maybe he has
to do?
learned.
That's my question. If he's going to
You can say he's learned the last 4 games. I mean, he's either getting out of the way or he's telling them, hey, what I was doing wasn't working. So, I mean, if you want to be devil's advocate, if you want to give him credit, you can. You can say, hey, well, as bad as he was, they're doing what Mitch is good at. You know what I mean? And he's trying to win. The team's trying to win. I see a lot of effort. That's why I wasn't willing to give up on them. I'm like, I just don't think they're quitting. And I know that some of the game, the Green Bay game, you could say the defense kind of laid down. But once they seen that Mitch was like, hey, this guy's moving the offense. You know what I mean? They started playing harder. They played kind of crappy in Detroit. But, I mean, in Houston, they were like, hey, we're going to be the reason this team doesn't make the playoffs, not fucking Mitch. And then, maybe they realized, and I know today, there were some struggles, but there was definitely effort. You can't say they weren't trying, and we had some guys missing. Yep. I thought Vilder played pretty well.
That's a good point, too. They didn't
and I thought the nickelback Duke Shelley played great, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, for being a small guy. And
yeah, they got picked on that first touchdown to Justin Jefferson where he's wide open.
I'm not sure whose fault.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure whose fault that was.
Hard to stop that guy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like I said, I was happy with everything up until that final at the end of it. It just needed Mitch to pitch a flawless game just so everyone could shut up about him. And
I don't care that he threw that. I mean, that pick was bad. It was the worst. And I was worried. Bad. Believe me, I was watching my TV like, oh, shit, I've been talking shit to Greg Braggs all day, all week. You know what I mean?
See, that's the thing that pisses me off, Chubbs. I had dudes in my mention who they are laughing at me after the Mitch pick, and I had to check their profile because you could not be a Bears fan and be happy when something like that happens. I picked the Bears to lose in a letdown game, but if they had let down, there would have been no satisfaction.
I was ready to throw my phone against the wall.
I would be crying right now. I would not be saying I told you so.
But even let's say that they lost that game off of Mitch's turnover, I still wouldn't come on here and beat on Mitch because he kept them in that game the whole damn.
The defense
People
is what got
so
shredded.
Ready to jump all over him. Even my guy Sylvie, and I'm not gonna pick nits on his tweets, but if you go on his timeline,
I roasted him.
He's tweeting all about the whole team and how good they are. And then at one point, Montgomery, makes a touchdown and he's like, feed him. And I wanted to be like, that was the same drive Mitch hit that 3rd and 11 to Anthony Miller, which extended the drive for them to even score. And I wanted to be like, 3rd and 11, praise him. Because he hadn't, up until that point on his whole timeline, he hadn't said anything about Mitch. And then when Mitch makes the mistake, what does he tweet? Can't happen. We know turnovers can't happen. That's a given, but people throw them. It's about the totality of your game too. It's my goodness.
Yeah, he wanted to step on their necks.
If you're gonna wait on pins and needles to trash the guy, you at least have to give him credit when he makes a play, and I don't ever see it. I really don't. It's like you're pulling teeth to give this guy a little credit. It's funny to me.
All right, Greg, this is the part where I don't really like the media. right? Everybody probably knows that, you know.
Really?
But I mean, like,
news. Chubbs doesn't like the media.
well, the reason I don't is because they have an ego like Nagy. They're not going to come on and be like, I was wrong. I mean, I gave what's the other guy? Cap. I thought he got a lot of credit. He came on and told Sylvie he was wrong about, Mitch and all this. Well, hey, you weren't wrong. You were right. Sylvie was wrong. So I expect to see Sylvie's video of saying, hey, this fucking, I'm not right. Nagy was the problem. And, it's hard for media personalities to be like, admit they were wrong because they're wrong a lot. If you listen to talk radio, they're wrong every day. It doesn't matter. Next day.
That's why I don't get why people take it so seriously. I've been wrong.
Well,
I mean,
you love the team.
I apologize to Mitchell and Desplains. Did I feel he got benched too early? Yeah, but at some point you got to lay your sword down on a stupid sports debate. But yes, now that it's
and these people are hoping for failure. They're hoping for failure so they can be right. That's the difference between fans and the media. Fans don't want the team. They don't want to be like, well, who's somebody? Leno can't play, right? Leno's not very good. I say that, you know what I mean? But do I want him when he fails? Am I going to go on Twitter and be like, told you, God, I'm so happy this team. I mean, they almost seem elated that the team fails because of the player they called out.
Twofold. I think there's half of it, the love of being right and smearing it in the faces
You
of
shouldn't
those
want to be right more than the team.
But I also think there are some people that are over obsessed with their idea of what the future of the franchise should be. And then when things are going against the grain of how they want that to unfold, they root against that. I have fallen victim to that. I openly rooted against the Bears when Mike Glennon was under center. I was so furious that they were starting him over Mitch that I was like going to every game banging the drum that I was going to root against them. And as a Bears fan, that was an awkward feeling. So I get where they come from in some degree, but man, if you're not rooting, fine, you don't want to root for this kid because you're over the Mitch train, fine. But to not give him credit shows your hand as far as how you handle sports debates on Twitter. I completely agree with you there.
Well, they get paid to talk about sports, you know what I mean? To give their takes. So it's not like a fan who is, I'm not being paid. I buy stuff from the Chicago Bears, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I have an investment in winning. They have an investment of whatever gets them paid the most fucking money. It's not about winning to them. They're getting paid whether the team wins or loses. So to me, like when you're being paid for your takes, I could sort of understand, like, well, I don't want to be wrong on every fucking take. But, the difference between fans and the media is, investment, and being paid. Like, I'm in it for the love of it. I'm not in it for money. Nobody's paying me. I don't care about fame. That's the first show I went on.
The media used to be a lot more rigid 20 years ago when social media wasn't around. Now everyone worries about that cold takes exposed, showing your ass, and
I don't care about that. I've been wrong tons of times on social. I don't give a fuck.
That kind of, now you do see a lot of hedging, a lot of fence riding. You saw that in training camp with a lot of realistic reporters, and the ones that were saying Mitch looked better were guys that were pandering to the fans, trying to get clicks. And that kind of narrative stuff, I agree. That's where you kind of come out to that stuff because your preordained beliefs. 100%.
And they sort of get together and talk about it. They get together and they're like, well, Mitch doesn't look too good today in practice. And then every little article, it's the same article, but it's little differences of their own nuance in the article. But it's Mitch didn't look too good today. You know what I mean? At their opinion part. But if you read the actual, some of them are accurate. I'll give some of them credit for being like, oh, 4 or 5 balls were dropped by the defense by Nick Foles. The problem is they didn't call that out. They just called out, well, Mitch ran out of bounds, when Nagy called a pass play on 1st and goal from the 1, and he ran out at the 2. Well, who cares about that? Nick Foles is throwing the ball to defenders 4 or 5 times in fucking practice. Who cares about Nick's 2-yard loss on a dumb play call by Nagy? I mean, that's the part that, gets me.
Yeah, and be fair in your criticism, because for so long we were so rigid towards Mitch, and I'd hear guys say, well, we've been critical of everything else. We've been critical of the O-line. Not as hard. Certainly not as hard. All these
It's
other
not as
people
sexy.
yeah, it's not as fun. 100%. It's been the trendy thing to pick on Mitch, and now he's getting a little bit of the last laugh. Like I said, he gave him a little fodder with the interception at the end, and definitely something he needs to
9-7 playoffs, baby.
I mean, now all of a sudden, because that's what I want to lead you to before I cut you loose, Chubbs, is now they have Jacksonville coming up. Should I be worried about the trap game here? I was so worried about the down game here. Now I'm most certain to pick the Bears to win by 40 next week. But I shouldn't worry about the letdown at all until we get to the final.
I don't think they're going to win by 40, right? But I don't think they're going to lose. Jacksonville has gave up. They almost seem like they're getting clear instruction. You better not win a fucking game because we're getting Trevor Lawrence. Or we're going for Trevor Lawrence. You know what I mean? They're not trying to win. To me, they got blown out the other day, right? The last game they got blown off the field. So
they got beat pretty bad today by the Ravens as well.
Yeah, I just seen that game. It was like 21-0 or something like that, or 3.
So that's a game.
Last time I seen
I expect the Bears to go in and kick their ass, and then we have another Bears-Packers to end the year. That means everything. That's absolutely what I expect at this point.
Well, the question is Aaron Rodgers gonna, is the coach, because I don't think they're going to be playing for anything. I think they're going to have the first seed wrapped up, because I think the Saints
are losing right now. So
I think they're going to lose.
Nothing, and Drew Brees has had a terrible game, so they're not playing well. They lose today, and they're looking pretty to be sitting.
And all the Packers have.
The Packers got win next week. That's it.
The Packers need to win next week,
and it's over.
So, when you saw the Packers game yesterday, their star pass rusher,
Darius Smith.
Yeah, he got hurt. And I told Jenny, my wife, we were sitting there watching the game. I go, as much as they probably want to play their starters and thorn it to the Bears and stick it in their side and keep them out of the playoffs, it's a feeling out process in a game like that. Do I expect them to not play their starters at all? No, they'll probably play. But, as the game goes on, if the Bears are playing physical, they're not going to want to risk their star players getting injured when they have a clear chance to win a Super Bowl. And at that point, if they're really worried about the Bears getting in to keep them from winning the Super Bowl, that would be, but the Bears made that same mistake and let the Packers get in once upon a time.
I don't think they're thinking about that.
To haunt the Bears, the Packers went to the Super Bowl and beat us on our home turf. So what goes around comes around, as they say, and there's nothing I would love more than to see that, but we are a long ways away from that. But I did want to give you your time in the sun here, Chubbs. You've been one of our most loyal supporters.
Don't ever quit on your team.
I will not. The rest of the way,
Greg.
Johnny B gets to smack me as hard as he can across the face, and so does Eric. I'm letting Eric.
Can I smack you too, just for the hell of it?
So I'm gonna let one of them get the smack in since you're all the way.
That's okay.
I feel like I should smack you, Greg.
Chubbs smack you.
Well,
no shit.
Chubbs, are you close? Are you around the region?
No, I'm not. I'm a few hours away from Greg, but hey,
you make the trip.
If we
make the playoffs and the fucking mayor actually lets us go to the game, I might come up there. Yeah, and I'll give him a little slap.
Give
him a slap. Give him a slap for us.
I watched the Green Bay Packers have very limited fans in their stands, and they actually let the select healthcare workers and their families go to the game last night. And I think the Chicago Bears, if you're watching this right now, some of the people that work up there, I know they watch our show sometimes. You should be doing some kind of. They do. You'd be surprised. One in particular. Anyway. I think that they need to be extending an olive branch. And yes, I'm saying that because my wife is a nurse and maybe I want them to invite me too. But they should.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow, Greg.
Gosh, you just played your hand.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't been
you probably get it too, Greg. You probably get it. Because you're the darling fan on fucking Twitter that everybody loves.
Well, I gotta keep that reputation tight.
Hey, man, play the hand that you got.
Trying to rip me. What? Go ahead.
Play the hand you got.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So maybe they'll extend an olive branch to get some fan emotion into the final game of the season, but we'll see. We'll see about all that. But you are a true and dedicated fan to the Chicago Bears, Chubbs, and this was your first ever, appearance here on Brags in the Stands, and it certainly won't be your last. And I do want to truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for
Hey,
showing
are the
so
Eagles
much
winning?
support.
Are the Eagles winning?
They're down 19-14, but they were down 16-0 to start, so they're climbing back into it.
That's
as
my
we
upset pick.
speak.
It's gonna happen.
So hey, I'm right there. I'm all
We
in.
want the Eagles
all
to
in
win
on-
that game.
I'm full Chubbs mode the rest of the way. I'm ready for my smackenings. And I did want to thank you again. I want you to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday.
You too,
Thank
Greg.
you for
Merry
showing
Christmas,
so
Jake.
much
I
Merry
don't
Christmas,
hate you,
buddy.
Jake. I don't hate you, Jake.
I hope not. I love you, so no, I hope you like me too.
You keep
I
us
love all
honest.
Bears fans. I'm hard on people on Twitter. But I mean, I
We
gotta
love
stick
it.
with my team.
Hey, some
Hey,
people
be you,
can't
Chubbs. That's
handle
why we
the
love
heat.
you.
Some people can't handle the heat on Bears Twitter, but me personally, I embrace
I don't care.
all the
People tell me to fuck off all the time. So
The mute button's a beautiful thing. People don't know how to use it. They gotta cry.
it is
on
beautiful. I'll tell you. I'll be muting the negative fucking people lately. Like, Jesus Christ, we're winning and you're bitching.
Yeah, I don't rarely mute anybody unless they're too crazy. But that's a heavy line on Twitter because we're all a little crazy. So again, thank you for holding it down on Twitter, keeping us honest here at Brags in the Stands, and we appreciate your input here today. We'll definitely bring you on here real soon, and especially when the Chicago Bears make the playoffs. That's right.
That's right.
Not if, when.
When.
We'll catch you loose, Chubbs, and we'll catch up with you here real soon. All right, my man?
All right, bear down, man.
See you, bud.
Bear down. All right, our guy Chubbs bringing the heat here on Brags in the Stands. That was a really nice interview there, Jake. Got to put the face to the name of the infamous Chubbs, and he's a great
Did not
follow
disappoint.
on Bears Twitter, and a really great guy. So that was great. I don't know. Did Mitch ever get a chance to talk, or did they just sweep him away?
They might have. I didn't see him pop up, but I think I might have missed it. We were
They
talking.
said Mooney was coming up, which I thought was.
I think
funny.
I did see Mooney pop up. Yeah.
Normally they go to the quarterback right after the head coach, so you wonder if there's any kind of injury issue with Mitch that he couldn't speak to the media right after Nagy, because typically they don't go right to the wide receiver. But I guess that's just my paranoid self, because Murphy's Law, Jake. You gotta anything that can go. Of course, the offense goes right, so then the defense got given up, and then if we win, then Mitch hurts his thumb and he's out for the year. That's always how Bears history has always worked, and I'm still nervous, but now that
look, I feel like they're gonna go in and beat Jacksonville down next week. Absolutely, I feel very confident in that.
Ready to get my hopes. Ready to go all in on this Sunday.
Might as well go all in. What else we got?
Sunday. Well, I'm going to go all in this Sunday, and then I'm going to be biting my nails all the way down to the nub for Bears-Packers week, which is going to be a very special week here on Brags in the Stands. And we might as well break the news here now for those of you that are still here on Brags in the Stands. The week of Bears-Packers, we are going to have none other than former Bear Patrick Manley joining the show. We're going to start a little early that week, and do a special Brags in the Stands Bears-Packers preview, and then we'll do one later maybe the day of the game, to make sure we get all our picks in, and Johnny B give you his gambling, Johnny B for 3, so you make some money from your couch. But that's the big news of the week, is Patrick Manley is going to be coming on here in a couple weeks to preview Bears-Packers, the all-time. He's played the most games in Chicago Bears history, and that's right. He is the best long snapper of all time, and he has a long snapper award that's named after him that they give out, and that is why we were going to bring him on, not only to preview Bears-Packers, but to talk about the Patrick Manley Award and the work he does with Bernie's Book Bank. So really excited here. I wanted either the Bears to lose out and go 5-11 or make the playoffs, and right now, obviously they do not control their own destiny, which really is frustrating when you look back at the Lions game. But I'm all in now. I'm a Bears fan. Jake, we only get so many games each year, right? There's 16 weeks of this each year. We wait all year long for it, as the Cardinals just score a touchdown here with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining to take a 26 26-14 lead. So they're extending their lead a little bit here before the half with 2 minutes to play. But, they don't control their own destiny, but I'm all in and rooting for them to make the playoffs. They have a serious
Absolutely.
chance. They're going to beat Jacksonville. So more than likely, this is going to come down to the final week of the season. And there's no reason to not just go all in. If you get your hopes up, we can all piss and moan when it's over. But I'm full Chubbs mode. I was happy we were able to bring him on here today. I got a full Chubb, Jake, as they say, and I'm embracing it. I'm embracing it as I turn my
Classy.
Yes, classy indeed. Can't help myself, but I'll tell you what, it's just exciting times here. The Brags in the Stands is back. The wheels are back on track. Mitch got us back, back on the right track. He said, "What the tailgate show, guys? Get in, losers. We're going to the playoffs." I love that. So, I feel like we can, put a bow on this. We've listened to Nagy. We've had a few thoughts. We've had some fun here. Chubbs really brought it. I know a lot of people in the chat were really enjoying what Chubbs was bringing to the table here on Brags in the Stands. And when you interact with us here on Friday nights, and he's always in the chat, he brings it just as much there too. So make sure you guys tune in on Friday nights. It's a lot of fun to kick around the conversation, and it enhances our show quite a bit. So shout out to Chubbs, and shout out to everybody that hung out with us here today. Justin Crenshaw has had a lot of nice comments here about the team and about the show here in the chat, and we appreciate your interaction as well, Justin, and hanging out with us. Jeff, you're an A1 guy as well, and we always appreciate you popping by, and we'll see what happens here with the Bears here going forward. I did get a question in the chat from Buffalo Butt, our new favorite Twitter profile. He asked if we had a merchandise, to be able to buy things, and we actually do, Buffalo Butt. Our guy Jake does amazing graphic design work, and you can get yourself a Cash Mooney shirt from our Teespring store whenever you want, whenever your heart desires. And we've got some really cool gear.
I think we might need to put the Truther shirt back into the store at this point.
We need to get the Truther shirt back into the store. As you can see, you can get the Cash Mooney in different colors. We've got the Extend AR shirt. You can even get yourself a Brags in the Stands shirt and mug, as we see my good friend Helen and my family wearing the Brags in the Stands shirt. I love it. So Jake was nice enough to put those graphic designs together and make a store for this show. And you absolutely can pop down to Teespring, as you see the .com at the bottom of the page, and get yourself some cool Brags in the Stands gear. So like I said, I think we're going to put a bow on this. Let Jake go back to sweating about his fantasy team. He is neck and neck with Pete Lackage, Little Bo Pete,
Mark.
With Mark Calhoun, our good friend. He's neck and neck with him. He was our points leader of the regular season, so he's got a really good team. So you got your hands full. So
my team sucks.
Before you got Eric Ebron going Monday, right? So
I have Matt Gay right now, and he's got Kamara, and then I have the Browns defense tonight. I have Kareem Hunt tonight. Yeah, and I have Nick Chubb tonight, and then I have Ebron on Monday. So right now I'm down about 20. If hopefully Kamara has a bad game.
How are you? Where's your feet from the start of the show when you were kind of not feeling great, gloom and doom? Where are you feeling now, or do you not want to jinx it at all?
I still feel negative about it. I have so many eggs in the Browns basket that if the Giants were to upset them, I would be in big trouble. So I hate playing 3 guys on one squad. So I'll always feel nervous about that. Not to mention I'm playing 2 running backs that are splitting time with one another, which is never great. So, but last week, those 2 running backs scored about 50 points between the 2 of them. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a tight one.
Well, I'm definitely rooting for you, obviously. I want you to Brags in the Stands to be represented as champions here. And, so Johnny's probably going to win our pick'ems, and I want you to win our league, even though you're always.
He's getting close. I'm on his heels. I'm on his heels. I did pick the Cowboys to win, and they did pull that one out. I should have picked the Bears.
I call you Snake, but you're my ultimate You are my ultimate rival, but you're also my ultimate friend.
Oh,
and
Lord.
that is the sentiment.
Oh, man.
Oh man, I want you to win. We'll see what happens.
We'll
And,
see. Hey, whatever happens, it's fine. We're having fun here.
Yeah, exactly right. We're having fun. Bears are still in the playoff hunt, and that's all we can ask for as fans is to make the playoffs or not, one or the other. And it seems
Hey,
like
honestly, the Bears make the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they win a game, at least one, the way they're playing
Wouldn't that just be exciting? I would take that all day, every day.
all day long.
I know Chubbs is thinking about what Matt Nagy's. There's the live look. He's already game planning for the big Jacksonville Jaguars game. So
hey, maybe Matt is rounding himself into a decent head coach if he understands to get out of his own way, that he was holding the team back.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm right there with you as I turn my camera once again. I think there is a lot of silver linings as Matt Mahalski, my man, joins the chat. I do think there are a lot of silver linings because, man, they've figured it out. Eureka. The Eureka moment has seemed to happen. When have they ever put up this many points on the Minnesota Vikings? At one point, I literally went into shock as they said the Bears have scored on 6 straight possessions, and it almost was 7 until Mitch, of course, had to make the flounder. But like you said, it's hard to even be critical of him after the day that he had dropping 33 points. So
I was not going to shame him for that interception whatsoever. Just like I didn't really shame him for the fumble against the Lions. I mean, I didn't. Yes, that's an unfortunate play, but I'm not going to pin that on Mitch when he's the one carrying the team all day long. I mean, I just, he was forced. He was trying to step on their necks. I can't blame him.
Yep, and like I said, the silver linings are, man, has the light turned on for these guys? It's such a, like, you don't, as a fan, you just don't want to ever get let down, so you don't allow those feelings and those thoughts to enter in, and then you say them. But that's why I admire a guy like Chubbs. He don't have that time. He just says it and feels it. I used to be like that when I drank more Jack. I guess I need to get back on the whiskey train because that's when I start getting those Greggy Sunshine vibes. But
yeah, alcohol is definitely the solution here.
Alcohol is always to alcohol the problem and solution to all of life's problems, as the great Homer Simpson would say. So again, we're gonna let everybody get to their afternoon games and Jake get to his stressing on his fantasy team. Jalen Hurts just dropped one in the bucket. They're trying to drive down the field and help our Chicago Bears make the playoffs. Again, I want to thank everyone in the chat for hanging out. Chubbs, I want to thank Chubbs for coming on to the show today. He's wishing you the best.
Thank you, Chubbs.
Jake, and on your fantasy endeavors. And I want to thank everybody again for coming in the chat. I want to thank Chubbs for coming on the show. We will not be doing a Brags and Stands this Friday, obviously, because Christmas is upon us. You might get a surprise show on Christmas Eve, but that would be a big maybe. So no promises there. Regardless,
big Sunday morning show.
Yeah, Sunday morning next week to preview the Jacksonville Jaguars Bears game. We will be here at Brags in the Stands breaking it all down. So that'll do it. For my co-host, graphic design extraordinaire and producer Jake, I am Greg Braggs. We are Bears fans extremely elated that we are still in the playoff hunt. Well, maybe half of the Braggs in the stand. I don't know. Jake wanted all out. I want it all out. Now we're all back in. Full Chubbs mode here at Brags in the Stands. We can't help ourselves. Have a good night. Thank you, Mitch. You're back. I love you. Don't ever. You got to end the show. I can't hit the button.